My goals for this week are to finish up the galley as much as I can, and since I have my dad for this weekend to help me out, get a start on either some of the electrical work or dropping the rudder or some of the rigging. But what I have to do in the galley is, as you can see, I cut out this locker face, which is really exciting, but it has to be cleated in because right now it's just kind of stuffed in there. So I'll cut out cleats. So this is the cleat stock that I planed and cut out on the table saw. And so I'll just cut out little sections of it and then attach it to the face and then screw it into the bolt. This is all the cleat stock in order of how I decided to number it. It's going to attach this to this because right now it just does. Once I've done that, I will take it out again because that means it's dry fit, and I will paint it. So I'm going to epoxy coat the back, is the part that you won't see, and then the front is going to get primed and painted white to match the rest of the boat. I cut down this bulkhead. You can see it used to be up to here, and I cut it down to here because it kind of feels like you're in prison when you're sitting in the settee. Also on the list of things, I have here a square sink, and it is a round hole because the sink used to be round. And I bought a new one. So clearly I never learned from those games that you play as kids where you try to put the right pigs in the right holes. I have a couple thoughts on how to make this look nice. And stove obviously goes in here. If I can, I'll install it, but I'm not going to do that until after the galley lockers are done. So once I've painted the face, I also need to cut out drawer faces for these drawers. Obviously I'm not going to have the screws sticking out of them, so basically you just cut out a nice looking front bit that you want and glue it to the front of the drawer, and that's what you see. And hopefully at some point I'm going to start doing locker doors, but we'll see. That's pretty much goals for the week. It is Friday, so that's like next week's stuff. Future Holly's problem, including like 5 minutes in the future Holly. That's her problem too. It's fun. It's fun. It's summer today. It is a balmy 90 degrees in the boat. I have yet to buy a fan. I'm a little too busy today to make a run into town. I've gone from minus 30 in January to now a lovely 92 in the boat. It is not 92 outside, but being under a tarp in the sun with no ventilation is kind of just like living in an oven now. So I've gone from the freezer to the oven, and I am so excited to get my boat on the water. The rest of my boat looks really good. Everything is starting to come together super nicely. I've painted all the locker faces white and everything is put on. No doors yet. I'm going to do them all at once because it's just going to be a set up the router and go to town sort of day, but it feels amazing to have all of this stuff actually put into my boat. I'm starting to feel like this is doable. I might just finish. This is the head locker. Adding some bulkheads in here. Originally it was just this giant cavernous locker that was going to be impossible for organization, but I just cut out these bulkheads. Today there's going to be one here, and this one will go here. Once I get those cleated in, I'm going to add a little shelf up here where you can see I've already started putting the templates in. So there was a through hole here because there used to be a sink inside of a locker, so took the through hole out. You'll notice that there's this weird thing going through the deck that is to go to the water tank, which I took out. It was a bag, but I'm going to install a tank probably there underneath the V-berth, and there will be a hose that is led down through that hole. Today's fun and excitement is wires. Whee! Look how not janky this entire setup is. So basically I am pulling all the wires on the boat to come out of this hole, and then I'm going to reassess the situation. Yep, it is exactly as fun as it looks. So much fun. How about that public transportation, huh? That was an electricity joke. I can make them now. These are buses. Wiring was one of the things that I was the most nervous about because to me it's the skill that I have the least of and the skill that is the most terrifying to learn because I have all these images in my head of an exploding boat. But it turns out that beyond pulling out all of the old wires, which was not fun at all, the actual act of wiring was super exciting because I could design where I wanted a light and then really easily just lead the wires to exactly that light. And wiring my simple little boat, super easy. One of the most fun projects that I'd done to date. I bought 2 new marine batteries and made a box for them out of 1/2-inch plywood, which I epoxy coated and then used fiberglass to reinforce the corners of. This I stuck under the quarter berth, and that is where both the batteries live, as opposed to when I first bought the boat when they were each in a separate place. Once all the wires were pulled, I led them all back to the same spot where I put a bus terminal in. They all pulled out from the little area underneath where the bus terminal was, and all the ends had to get spliced onto bigger wires because a lot of the ones I was using were leftovers from before. This part, also super fun, also not at all hard, and one of the pleasures I think for me was just the fact that I was able to do it and succeed at something that I never thought that I'd be able to succeed at before. Once all the major wire runs were set up, the fun part came, which was figuring out where I wanted to put cabin lights and fans, and ooh, what a fun thing to design for your little home. Still on the ground, my dad and I ran new wires through the mast for the running lights and steaming light. We also added a new set of spreaders to give the rig 2 sets. Spreaders that I added were ones that I found in a marine salvage shop. They had a stack of masts outside and I was able to look through them and find the ones I wanted. Then they just cut them off the mast. Since they were a little too short, I had extra pieces of metal welded onto the ends to make them the right length, so beefy AF. Winter had its challenges with the cold, but with the dawning of summer came the dawning of a whole new set of things I had to deal with while just trying to work on my boat. There's a wasp nest building boat right above the ladder, so when you climb up the ladder, if you were to tilt your head back, your face would be 6 inches from the nest. So this morning, I'm going to get rid of the nest. I don't want to use wasp spray for 2 reasons. 1, I don't want to kill the wasps. Go ahead and make fun of me. 2, basically like spraying wasp spray in your tent. So the plan is to take some sort of a container, put it over the wasp nest, and then slide something over the top of the container. I'll set the container down in the grass and get a long stick and knock it over and let the wasps escape. So for protective clothing for this endeavor, I have a flannel, and I have this over my face, but I'm going to put this t-shirt over my head. And then after I do that, I'm going to go rob a bank. It's even got my initials on it. Exit interview. Am I nervous? Yes. Am I worried that I'm going to get stung in my legs? Yes. Yes, I am. If you look carefully here, you'll see the first wasp appearance. There are a ton of mosquitoes. Second wasp appearance. Note, Video Holly has not noticed it yet. Let's take this nest down. I have this towel in case... Here you might think Video Holly noticed the wasp, but no, she did not. My plan goes south, and I need to just jump under something. Holy shit, there's one right there. Astute observation. Oh my god, it's on the nest. Oh my god, it just went into the nest. I really don't want to get stung. Ah, I caught a mosquito. I just caught a mosquito. See, I can do this. Fuck. Fuck. Shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm not stung. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh! I did it. Look at it. Next step is to take this down without falling. He's pissed. Well, he's back right where he was before, buzzing around in the dregs of his stupid little nest. Lessons learned: wasps are dicks. Just kill them. As much as I feel bad about killing the wasps, there are so many of them, and they keep trying to establish nests on my boat. So I'm at the point now where I have the wasp spray, and unfortunately they get sprayed. A woman's place is in the galley. If you guys remember from last week's episode, I finally finished taking out the port lights, and now it's time to put the new ones back in, only like 5 months later. Today is putting in the port lights day, and if you think for a second that this is fun, you are so very wrong. My dad helped me bigly with this. So the first thing was to tape everything very, very carefully so that no caulk could escape from the outer edges. We dry fit every window, and then once we knew everything was perfect, we used Life Seal to put just so much more than you would ever need goop, but these things have to be watertight. The reason I used black was because there was black on the windows before, and as you can see, I scraped as much of it off as I could, but it just wasn't going to be worth it to try to get everything clean and use clear. So I went with black again, which isn't a big deal, except you just have to be really, really careful about not getting it anywhere it's not supposed to be. So one of us was down below, the other one was up on deck, and then we would smush the windows together and screw them in from either side. Pulling off the tape was very exciting, but also very scary because once you put this stuff in, it's pretty hard to get it off. I think we did a stellar job, mostly thanks to my dad because he's done this a million times before. Most exciting part was when I took off the last layer of plastic and I was finally able to see through my port lights because I'd spent an entire summer sailing my boat with basically sea glass in the windows where the light would come through, but you'd be down below and just have no idea what was outside. Oh, I can see clearly now, the lights are on. It's super hot today, so I've got dual fan action going on, one on either end, trying to make it less like a sauna. Here we've got, so this side is done. Whee, look at that, it's so beautiful. This is the goop and the tape that I pulled off of the old windows, caulking gun, haha. Over here, we have not done this side yet. This is yet to be done. Today, I'm making and installing the new countertop for my galley. Since I added a different sink and changed the shape of everything, I needed to make new holes for the countertop. So I took a piece of marine grade plywood and fitted in, then epoxy coated everything really nicely and slapped it onto the top of the counter. I was given a little jib as a storm jib, which is super perfect, and I think the cat likes it too. Today is the much anticipated doors day. I got my dad to help me again with these because I'm a very amateur carpenter, and while I'm capable of cutting out roughly square shapes and sort of roundy holes in the square shapes, the doors should look perfect. So he helped me set up a jig, and then we took a bunch of plywood and cut it and routered it and got the edges all nice and smooth. And then I spent forever getting everything perfect to get the doors to have a nice shiny finish because I was just using plywood since I'm poor. I first epoxy coated them a couple times and sanded it down to get a really smooth surface, and then I painted on top of that to make it all beautiful. These are all the doors. I'm repainting the locker faces, just putting a top coat on them to make them look nice and shiny. So here are the doors with the hinges attached. For latches for the doors, I cut a bunch of teak stock and hand-carved each individual twiddly knob to open and close them. And here we have the galley with the locker face on, with the doors on, with the little twiddly knobs on, and I am so unbelievably happy. I never thought I could do something like this. That August, my brother got married to the amazing Tish, who always puts my videos from Dropbox onto YouTube for me. It was also the first night I slept on my boat. We had so much family visiting my parents' house that there wasn't any room anywhere else. Plus, I volunteered because I was just really stoked to be finally living on my boat. Once I'd finished with the wiring, I put all the locker faces in and all of the doors on. I put my cushions in and my boat was ready to go. At this point, it was August. My boat had been hauled out of the water for 10 months. Not all of this was time that I spent working on it because I was going back and forth to a contract-based job to make money so I could spend it all on my boat. But I had spent so many agonizing months, freezing winters, stifling summer months, creating this home for myself. And it was just an incredible feeling when I finally stepped back and looked around and everything was how it was going to be forever and ever until I sell the boat, which is not going to be ever. My little sister painted the gecko on my rudder for me. She designed it and did the whole thing herself. She's an amazing artist. It only took her an afternoon to paint it on, and it's going to be there forever. I dropped the rudder off of my boat to check out what was behind it and then painted everything with some nice, happy, ablative bottom paint to get it all ready to go into the water. Thanks for watching this week's video. You know, it's been a dream of mine ever since I hauled my boat out in October of 2017 to make a montage of working on my boat and sort of the before and after pictures. So dreams do come true. It finally happened. I'm so glad I'm able to share it with you guys too. If you like what I'm doing and you want to see more, I do have an Instagram account at Boat Lizard. Right now I'm in Panama trying to get through the canal and negotiate prices because my boat doesn't go fast enough, so there's a lot of extra fees involved, which I'm trying to get to go away, so we'll see how that goes. Also, thank you so much to my patrons who are supporting me through this. I definitely would have had to stop to work somewhere along the way if it weren't for you guys. If you're interested in supporting me, my Patreon is patreon.com/windhippie, and thank you. Just thank you. Thanks to Tish for continually putting these videos from Dropbox onto YouTube for me. You make my Mondays so much less stressful. With a terrible internet connection, I never know how long it's going to take to do these uploads. Sometimes it can take 12 hours, so I put it on Dropbox, and then Tish uses her superior internet connection to put it onto YouTube for me on the day of the Monday. So that is incredible. The song at the end during the very cool montage was played once again by my amazingly talented father. It's called Bean Rag. And if you want to check out more of what he does, because he has his own business doing custom woodwork on boats and houses, I'll put a link in the description below of his work, because it's super beautiful and amazing and way better than what you see on my boat. Thank you guys for all of your lovely comments that you continue to write and all of your support. You're just so nice. In 2 weeks, I'm going to share with you my mad dash from Maine to North Carolina in November with nor'easters and a leaky boat and a ton of learning curves that I experienced. So really stoked to show that to you guys, and then we'll be caught up with where I am currently, which is still Panama, unfortunately, but hopefully soon it'll be the Pacific side, so fingers crossed. Alright, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.